Hi, welcome back to Ascension Thoughts. This is Corey, and today I wanted to talk about downloads. Have you ever heard somebody say, I'm getting a download, or I had a download? Have you yourself ever received a download? What is that and what does it mean? So when people are referring to downloads, that usually means that they've received some information that's normally feeling like it comes through the crown chakra. This can come in the form of information like in words, like a channeling. That's how I often experience things. Or it can come down just like a computer. Like all of a sudden, it may take a few minutes, but boom, you have like a whole information system or program in your mind. Do you know that science has actually identified a neuron system that looks like a crown of thorns? This is no joke. And I often talk about how I do not believe in coincidences. And I just can't conceive how it would be a coincidence that we as humans have this crown of thorn neuron receptors that scientists believe have to do with our consciousness. And I'm going to refer this to Jesus and his crown of thorns. Okay, so let me start my presentation. This little dude's always over here. Okay. So neurons that look like a crown of thorns. So what scientists did is they injected different fluorescent, luminescent liquids into this neuron system. And this is exactly what it looks like. So you have this right now around the top of your head. Crown of neurons or thorns. Christoph Koch, maybe president of the Allen Institute for Brain Science in Seattle, Washington, led a new research which probed individual neurons inside the colostrum in unprecedented detail. One single neuron, those brain cells that, among other things, generate the bioelectrochemical signals that make you who you are. So this is exactly, this is a little bit of an exaggerated image, but this is essentially like what this looks like around your brain. People are saying that, scientists are saying that the colostrum is the seat of consciousness, perhaps. Now, they haven't identified that. What I think is that really our consciousness is broadcast to us like a radio signal. But this, in fact, the colostrum is in the middle of the brain, like in here, but these neurons wrap around and connect to it. So if the colostrum is the seat of consciousness, picking up like the receiver that picks up the signal, then these would help be the antenna. And that's exactly what it looks like. This neuron is part of a group of three in so-called crown of thorn networks. They are all extremely long, and they all emerge from a small thin layer of cells named the colostrum. These neurons appear to be connected to a section of brain that controls the processing of sensory information and behavior, as the human colostrum is one of the most densely connected areas of the brain. It suggests that elongated neurons are significant information highways of some sort. Now, this is pretty intense. So when we think about Jesus and we think about the metaphorical purpose of this crown of thorns, I know many of you are going to probably argue with me that this was a literal crown of thorns, but just stay with me for just a moment. How would it be a coincidence that we ourselves also have this? Like, this has been scientifically identified. According to Koch, the finding of their studies add weight to the idea that the colostrum coordinates input and outputs in the brain to give rise to what we familiarly call consciousness, but know little about. Do you hear that? Inputs and outputs. So this is the direct receptor for what we would call downloads, and it's attached to the crown chakra, which is known for a sense of knowingness, connection to spirit. When you have an open crown chakra, you're able to really receive information. Researchers who found it say that the largest one wraps around the brain like a crown of thorns. This neuron emanates from one of the best connected regions of the brain that we still know little about. A thin sheet of gray matter believed to control consciousness in some way. So just stay with me for a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just refer to a few Bible verses. And I'm just showing you connecting some dots here. So John 10:30, I and the Father are one. Okay. Now this one I think is pretty extreme. John 19:2, and the soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head and put a purple robe on him. So the significance of purple in this phrase is referring to the crown chakra, the Sahasrara chakra, the seventh chakra, the crown chakra, located on the top of the head. It's known with knowing, connection to spirit and the universe. Colors, violet, purple. The sound is Om. And if you feel balanced, you'll be spiritual, blessed. You'll feel unity, wisdom, open-mindedness, peacefulness, connected to the universe, and have a strong nervous system. Like even here, they're connecting the nervous system to the crown chakra, which this is connected to the colostrum, is a field of neurons, a surrounding thing of neurons. If you're imbalanced in this chakra, you felt mental disorder, feel fear, you feel materialistic, problems learning, apathy, broken, and have spiritual crisis. So the point in me referring to this is that I definitely do believe that Jesus Christ was a figure. I do believe his message has been vastly distorted through Rome to keep the lineage of kings. But we often look at the Bible as parables or metaphors. So this is highly suspicious that this would be just a coincidence, that what he's trying to say is that, like, I and my Father are one. And this is referring to the crown chakra. We have these neurons available to us. We have the power to heal. We have the power to receive the Christ consciousness. So this is scientifically proven now that this exists. This isn't like woo-woo information. I've given you the scientific info, and I just want you to think a little bit about that crown of thorns around your head and open yourself to these spiritual messages right now, because really we have a war going on. It's a spiritual war, a war of our not only our freedom, but our consciousness, and it's being attacked. It's being attacked through the media, music. There's so many different ways it's being attacked. Food, and a lot of it is just disinformation or not giving us the availability of information. When they said the Library of Alexandria burned down, that's absolutely not true. Some of those books did burn, but the vast majority of the important information was taken to the Vatican, which holds a lot of info that has been suppressed and kept from us. So I'm not saying anything, I'm not wanting to say anything that's insulting you if you have certain belief systems, but I'm just asking you to please open your mind up to consider the fact that this is science now, that we ourselves have a crown of thorns. It's responsible for our input and downloads of information. And I'm just asking you to maybe consider that this crown of thorn that was on Jesus was a metaphorical crown of thorns that was referring to this neuron system and having an open crown chakra. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. If you enjoyed it, please hit subscribe. I really want to bring out information of an esoteric nature, but I want to have the scientific background so that if you are really a fact-driven, logical-minded person, and you don't want me just to reference a woo-woo spiritual magazine, you can look and research these for yourself. So that's Christoph Koch, C-O-C-H, Seattle, Washington. They did this study and they have identified a neuron system that looks like a crown of thorns, similar to Yeshua or Jesus. Have a great day. Thank you.